Now that we've finished up PowerPoint, we are going to move on to Excel. Excel is probably my favorite of all of the things that we're going to do this semester. It can be tricky, but it's fun, and as we move along through these 3 chapters, I hope that you find that it's going to be helpful for you in the future. I know when you go out into the real world and get jobs, a lot of companies use some form of spreadsheet. And it's because almost every organization collects so much data, and they have to have a way to summarize it and to share it with members of their company. And an Excel worksheet allows data to be summarized and charted easily. So in this chapter, we're going to create a worksheet that conveys a visual representation of the data, and we're going to create a worksheet that includes a chart. We're going to make a personal budget for somebody, and this is a perfect thing for you to do as a young adult and then into your years after high school. So let's talk about what we're getting ready to make. Okay, our book says the worksheet contains budget data for Linda Fox. She's hired you to make a list, or she has compiled a list of her expenses and sources of income and wants us to create an easy-to-read worksheet so she can see if she's ahead or behind each month with her money. In addition, she would like a 3D pie chart to show her estimated expenses by category for each of the 12 months. Okay, so go ahead and open up Excel. We're going to click Blank Worksheet. A few things before we get started. To select a cell, you can either click in it or you can use your arrow key a lot on the keyboard to move around. Whatever cell you're on, it is highlighted. Whatever row or column you are on, it is also highlighted. So let's say right now I'm in F6. So this is cell F6, okay? You can just, when you're ready to enter text, you pick your cell and you type away. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to enter the worksheet title in cell A1. So click in cell A1, and we are going to type Personal Budget Worksheet. And then press enter. And we're going to type monthly expenses. Okay, and then press enter again. Okay, now we're going to start forming the income part of her budget. So I'm going to type in income. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go across for income, and we're going to enter all the months. So when I want to go over, there's different ways you can do that. You can press the arrow key on your keyboard. I like to press the tab key with my pinky, my left pinky, as I'm typing. That's the easiest way for me. Or you can click as you go. So I suggest, as you're typing, use your left pinky and click on the tab key as you're moving across your cells. So tab, go ahead and go across, and you're going to type in all the months. And make sure all your months are capitalized. You want this to look nice and neat. And then at the very end, we'll have a total. And when you're done with that, go down to A8. And here's where we're going to start her expenses. So do the same thing, January. Make sure you spell it correctly. February, and go all the way down to total. I'm going to press pause on mine and continue to type. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here in column A under income, and we're going to start listing her income. So the first type of income she gets is wages. And then the second income she gets is dividends. And then we will go ahead and total those. And then we can start entering all of her expenses. As you can imagine, we all have lots of expenses. So here, as you're typing rent, you press enter. So rent, food, enter, tuition, enter, and so on and so forth. Miscellaneous, and then we'll total that one also. Okay, go ahead and click on A19 and type net, because at the end we'll net it all. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to enter numbers. So one of the most powerful features of Excel is the ability to perform calculations on numeric data. But before you can perform all your calculations, you must first enter all the data that you have. So our client here has given us all of her information, all of her data for her monthly incomes and her monthly expenses. So we need to enter all that data into our cells. So I'm going to start, and you guys can just copy what I'm doing. If you need to press pause to catch up, that's fine with me. I'm just going to start going. Okay, I'm going to start with wages. And every month she makes the same amount. So that's $1,417.12. So I'm going to, again, tab. And it is so crucial that when you're entering numbers, you enter the correct number, because if you don't, and later on when we're making formulas to add, subtract, multiply everything, you'll get your wrong numbers, all because of one little mistake that you typed with your data. Okay. All right, her dividends. Looks like she gets a dividend every 6 months maybe. So $4,029.71 in January, and then she doesn't get paid a dividend again until July. $4,029.71. You may be asking, what is a dividend? That deals with stocks and being a shareholder of a company. So maybe she owns a company and she gets a share of it every 6 months of the profit. Okay, so now we've got our income numbers in. I'm going to finish up the zeros real fast over here. And now let's enter our expense numbers. It looks like she pays the exact same in rent every month, which is $410. She has some cheap rent. Food. She budgets the same amount every month for food, $280. She must be single, because I could spend $280 in a week. Okay. Tuition. Oh, I guess she's like I wonder if she goes to college. Okay, tuition in January, she spent $1,500. Okay, so go ahead and finish up your tuition. In books, she paid $500 in January. Zero until May, she spent $100. And then she spent $500 again in August. And then 0 the rest of the year. Entertainment, she uses $100 a month on entertainment. She's smart, because I remember when I was in college, I think, or just right out of college, I got out like $100 a weekend. I should have been saving. Okay, her car payment is the same every month, $215.47. And if you're wondering, I'm using my keypad on the right. I don't use the numbers above the letters. It's so much faster to use your 10 key. Okay, gas, $100 a month. Enter miscellaneous. She puts back $100 a month for miscellaneous. Okay. And then next thing we have to do is start summing all of our columns and totals. So we'll go to our first total, which is right here. What we're going to do is we're going to total January. Okay. When we total, we want to use sum. That's Excel's sum function. It's probably the easiest function Excel has. Up here you can see auto sum. If you click the arrow, here's some of other functions that are common that Excel uses. We want sum. So make sure you've clicked B6. We click sum, and now it has guessed for you. It's saying you want the range of B4 and B5 to be summed up, and that's correct. If that's correct, you can go ahead and click enter, and it has summed up January for you, January's income. Now, instead of doing that, 11 more times, we can copy that formula all the way through to December. Do you see that little green box right there? And when you hover over it, your mouse turns into a black cross. So once I get that, I'm going to click on it and do not let go. I'm just going to drag all the way to December, and then I'm going to let go. And then it has summed up for us every month her income. And you can see when she gets those dividends, her income is a lot more. Okay, so let's go total over here. Here we're totaling all of her wages. So we're totaling row 4. So I'm going to click sum, and Excel's pretty smart. It knows that you want this whole thing. If that's correct, I'm going to press enter, and then I'm going to pull down to fill in the blanks. Okay. Ah!
Sorry.
Okay, sorry, they came over to the intercom with an announcement. Okay, so as you can see, now you have totals. You want to look at January's total, February's. You want to look at all the wages for the year, all the dividends, and this is your final total right here. So her income for the whole year, she got $25,064.86. Okay, so now that we've done that for the her income, let's go down and we'll fill in the totals for her expenses. So again, I'm going to start here. I'm going to sum, press enter. I'm going to drag all the way to December. Here I'm going to sum all year of rent, press enter, and then I'm going to drag all the way down. So here's her final. Her expenses for the year were $18,775.64. Okay, so one cell left is our net. So that is total income minus your total expenses. So what we need to do is we need to enter a formula, and we're going to do it by month. So when you enter a formula that you're not using up here, you want to enter it yourself, you start out by pressing the equal button. And if it's just a simple formula, you can do it like this. You don't need to use parentheses. We'll get to that later. But if it's just a simple formula, you can do it this way. So equal. So her total expenses, or her total income for January was this. So I'm going to click on B6, and then I'm going to minus her total expenses. So I'm going to hit the minus button, and then I'm going to click her total expenses for January. So it should say equals B6 minus B17, and then I'm going to press enter. Okay, so that's her net income for January. Total income minus total expenses is your net income. And then I'm going to drag it across, and you will see all of her net income for each month. And let me make sure we got it all right. Yep. So you can see there's a few months where she had more expenses than she did income. So hopefully when that happens to you in real life, you have a savings account that you can get some money out of to help cover your expenses. So in the end, though, she came up positive. She had money left over. Okay, so now we've entered all of our data, and the next thing we need to do is we need to format the worksheet. You format a worksheet to emphasize certain entries and make the worksheet easier to read and understand, and just to make it pretty. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change a cell style. You can change several characteristics of a cell, such as the font size, and font color, all at once by assigning a predefined cell style to a cell. So go ahead and click A1. And then make sure you're in the Home tab. And here's our styles. So I'm going to click the More button. And there's a bunch to choose from. And I always pick title for your title. It makes it stand out and look like an appropriate title. Okay? And then I'm going to click A2, and I'm going to click the font arrow, and we're going to change our font to Calibri Light. And now it matches better. Okay, let's apply some bold styles to our cells. Bold text has a darker appearance than the normal text. And you apply bold to a cell to emphasize it or make it stand out from the rest of the worksheet. So let's go to A1 and click bold. And then let's go to A2 and click bold again. And then with A2 still selected, I want you to change the font size to 14. And then we're going to change our font color. Why would you want to change a font color? It just helps the text stand out more. And you can change the font colors to match the company or the product's brand or whatever you'd like. For this one, we're going to click in A1 and go to your color, and we're going to pick Orange Accent 2. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to center our cells, and you center your cell entries across the columns by merging them. So let me show you. I want you to go to A1, and then you want to drag all the way to N1, and then you click merge and center, And then do the same thing for row 2. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to format our rows using our data rows using cell styles. So go ahead and click in A3 and drag all the way to N3 and go up to your styles again, and we're going to choose heading 1, and then we're going to center our words. Okay, do the same thing for A8 through N8. Heading 1, center. Now I want you to format A6 through N6, our total row. And we're going to use the total style. You can go ahead and do that to our expense total row. And now let's select A19 through N19. And we're going to select total cell style for that one as well. Okay, actually I don't want that one. Redo it. Let's pick accent 2. Take it off total and then do accent 2. There we go. The next style I want to do, I want to do it different, several different rows. So instead of doing it one by one, we can hold down a key on our keyboard to select all the ones I want to do, and then we can apply a style to all the ones selected. So let's pick A4 through N4 and hold down your control key. A9 to N9, keep your control key down. A11 to N11. A13 to N13. And A15 to N15. Now you can let go of your control button and it should all be selected still. And we want to go to our styles and we're going to choose 20% accent 2. Okay, now let's go in the other rows. A5, hold down your control key, A10, A12, A14, and A16. Okay, let go of your control and we're going to use 40% accent 2. That way it divides it up a little better. So if I'm looking at the food row, I'm not getting mixed up with rent and tuition. It just makes it easier to read. In the accounting world, the first row should always have a $ in each section, and then the rest of your numbers should have commas. So we're going to go ahead and format that. So let's go ahead and select B4 to N4, and we want it to be accounting because we want that $ to show up on that first row. And then we'll do the first row down here too for rent. We'll choose accounting. And then the other rows, we just want number because we need that comma in there. Actually, an easier way would just be to select our comma. And then go ahead, select all of that, commas, and now it looks more professional with your commas and your dollar signs. As you can see, our columns are not big enough, so we need to fix that. So what you do is you adjust your columns, and by doing that you go up, so in between A and B, I'm going to put my mouse until it makes a dark cross with the arrows, and I'm going to double click, and it automatically adjusts that column for me to fit everything it needs to fit. So you go through and double click on each one. Some of them need adjusted, some of them stay the same. Okay, so Excel includes 15 chart types from which you can choose, including column, line, pie, bar, area, scatter, stock, surface, radar, tree map, sunburst, histogram, waterfall, combo, etc. The type of chart you choose depends on the type and quantity of data you have and the message or analysis that you want to convey. For our personal budget worksheet, we choose, we're going to choose the 3D pie chart, because when you want to see how each part relates to the whole, you use a pie chart. So let me show you how to do that. One sec. She wants the 3D pie chart for expenses. So the first thing you have to do is identify the range for your category name. So we want to list our expenses. So that would be over here. So you're going to select A9 to A16. And then we also want the total of those expenses. So hold down your control key and come over here, and N9 through N16 will be selected. And then you can let go of your control key. So go to Insert, and here's our different charts. And yours can look different than mine, but they should be similar. This you can see is the pie chart. So if you click your arrow, you have different options. We're going to choose the 3D pie. Go ahead and click in your chart title and select the text so we can change it. We're going to change it to monthly expenses. And then you can deselect that to look at it. Okay, next thing we want to do is apply a style to the chart. You do that if you want to enhance the appearance of the chart. It's quick and easy, and it adds some character to it. So make sure you're clicked in your chart. Up here it brings you up some chart styles. I'm going to click the More button, and we're going to choose Style 5. Okay, so we don't want our pie button or our pie chart to be next to our worksheet. We want to move it and make it have its own sheet. This will improve readability for your client. So go ahead, click Move Chart, and we want to move it to its own sheet. And we're going to name that sheet. Let's see. What do I want to name it? Monthly expense chart's fine. Monthly expense chart. And then you press OK. And now if you look down here, you have monthly expense chart, and then you click on sheet 1 and we come back to our budget. Let's go ahead and rename sheet 1. So right click it, rename, and let's just name it monthly finances. And then you can press enter. So as you can see, these tabs keep things organized, especially if you're a big company and you have multiple tabs. That's the way to go. Another way to help keep it more organized is if you right click it, you can change the tab color. So let's change it to the orange to match. But then, as you can see, it makes it easier to read. I'm going to change this one. I don't know. Pick whatever you'd like. And you can even move your tabs, like if you want that one first and that one second, I just slid it over. Okay, so you made a nice, easy to read personal budget worksheet for your client with a 3D pie chart, and you can see rent is her biggest expense, followed by food and tuition, and go ahead and save it and turn it in.